Welcome, everyone, to a very special edition of the Content Profit Show. This is Jeff Herring, and my guest right down here or over here, depending on how you're looking at this, is we have many hats. We're students, we're colleagues, we're friends. And I want to tell you something special about Larry Burton, okay? Right now, today, if you look up self help on Substack,
That's right.
he is number 9 in the top 10. So go,
Thank you,
Larry.
Jeff.
Yeah, my pleasure. You do the work though. So yeah, you got good stuff. And speaking of which, today we're going to talk about how content creators can conquer anxiety. Okay, how content creators can conquer anxiety, and if nothing else, it's a great alliteration, right? How content creators can conquer anxiety. In a moment, I'm going to turn it over to Larry to talk about his approach to self help, which is very unique. And then, you know what? We can talk about this or we can do it. So, one of Larry's key approaches, I'm going to be the receiver or the client or the victim or whatever you want to call it. Um, and
Beneficiary.
there you go. I like that. The beneficiary, and that'll just be about 15 minutes, and then we'll open it up to questions or anything else you guys want to talk about. So, you guys know my background. I was a counseling psychologist for like 27 years, and so used to being around anxiety, used to working with it, and then several years ago, in the small groups I lead at our church, my high school group, I sat them down the first of the next second year and I said, all right, there's a message, there's all this stuff we're supposed to talk about. I want to know what you guys want to talk about this year. And even though I'd been working with kids forever, since I was a teenager, they blew me away. They wanted to talk about stress, anxiety, and depression. And I'm like, what? You're 15. I was 15. My biggest source of stress was whether Bonnie was going to be my girlfriend or not. It's a different world, though. And there's a lot of focus on it being a different world for kids. That doesn't mean it's not a different world for us, because it is very much a different world for us when it comes to stress and anxiety, sadness, even depression. And so, and I think it's especially true for content creators, because I tell my friends and other people that are just starting out, you want the best therapy in the world, start an online business,
Mhm.
because that's going to push on stuff that you never knew was there. So Larry is the author of Self Help 2.0, and creator and the founder of something called the Pondera process that you're going to get
Right.
an example of today. So, Larry, tell us a little bit about what you got and how you got into it, and then we'll jump in here.
Uh, just give you an update. I just recently released a new one called Empowered Self Help, which is a simplified approach to what I'm doing. If you like to get into the weeds and into the history and philosophy and all that, get the first book. If you want the blue collar edition, like I prefer, you go get Empowered Self Help. And
I love
you
the honesty
know,
of that. That's
so,
awesome. Very good. Very good.
well, it's the first one I wrote just to answer my own questions. And I figured if I'm
Yeah.
doing all this work, I might as well share it. And
Yeah.
then you go, all right, now what is the audience really interested in? And
Well, that's a good distinction, because with NLP, neuro linguistic programming, the first books, the covers look cool,
yeah,
and then you read it and it's like it's written academically, and I'm like, ah. And then I found some people that were doing it regular, and then really all Tony Robbins did
that's right.
was take NLP and put it in street language.
Yep, yep. And that's what we're doing here. And what's happened is that um, self help in psychology in general is grudgingly moving into a new area where it's rediscovering some ancient truths. So let me give you a real quick 2 minute update on how I got here. Yeah, I started studying this stuff back in the 70s. Um, like you, we've earned our white hair so,
Absolutely.
along the way, and then I was always been a people helper, but then ended up building a business in the trades for about 35 years, and then 20 years ago, took a class in NLP, And that's when I got introduced to the whole idea of energy. And I knew about acupuncture, I knew about Tai Chi, I knew these sorts of things. But it was the first time I saw an approach using energy as a consideration for dealing with emotional issues, that psychological challenges. And then knowing about Tony Robbins and what he was doing with NLP. So I started exploring with that, discovered a national organization called the Association for Comprehensive Energy Psychology and did my training in there. And what we're doing is realizing that the body has an energy system and that that's an underlying dynamic in our emotions, in our beliefs, and in our memories. So you and I were trained in our coaching and counseling practices to think of the body as mind and body,
Right,
or think of people as mind and body, kind of that
right.
dualistic approach, which is fine, but self help is built on that 2D or dualistic or two dimensional understanding. But we've known for thousands of years that energy was a realistic and a viable component. Healing has always been about moving energy. And that only changed here in the West, for a variety of reasons. And we got off on this tangent where our medicine and our psychology and all that was looking at a mechanistic, thinking that we're just machines. But the reality is that we're machines powered by energy. So we can understand our challenges from a 2D perspective and from a 3D
I love
perspective. So
that.
that's
That
what we're doing. And then the
I love it.
Pondera process is I was working with lots of people in recovery from addiction. And the thing is that I want to give people the tools to help themselves effectively. And I saw most of self help ending up in frustration. That's because they were trying to solve a three-dimensional problem with two-dimensional tools. So now, how do you make an energy approach blue collar? How do you make it practical? How do you make it easy to utilize? And that's where this came out. It was
See,
both
I
to help
love what you
myself and
just
help.
said, trying to solve three-dimensional problems with a two-dimensional approach.
And that's what a lot
Just
of
gonna
traditional
work.
self help is doing.
All right,
That's why
awesome.
it's usually frustrating and the results
Yes,
are incomplete.
yeah, because if that stuff worked, all you had to do is go into the self-help section of a Barnes and Noble and or
Yeah,
Amazon, and you'd be fine,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. So that's where I started on developing that over the last, it took me about 10 years, and I stumbled across the idea of the Pondera process and developing that. And really, all I did is I started with the 12 steps. I reversed engineered it, added in some more of the psychological insights that we have and some ancient spiritual truths, and put it into an easy to use format. And tried it out on a few people, and it worked. And I go, my goodness, what is going on here? But if it works, you do more of the same. So that's what
Exactly right.
I've been doing for the last 10 years.
I love it. And Chris Hallett said, "Oh yes, started the business online, and it was therapy. I knew it would open so much stuff I'd locked away." Yep, you got it right, Chris. Thanks for
An online business is going to bring up any fears that you have, and that's what anxiety is about, fear of the future, primarily.
dude. That was an
And
awesome segue into what
yeah,
we're going to do. Well, did you go to Segway school? Because that's good.
I just
Um,
been listening to your stuff.
so we're gonna Larry is gonna use this process with me, okay? Bringing something that I'm anxious about, and this is just straight up, honest, transparent. I'm working on and getting ready to launch this spring the biggest thing I've ever done in these 20 years of doing this. A very impactful, a lot of done for you stuff mentor program. Okay. Now, here's the thing that you guys can get out of this right away. I got 20 years of success behind me, right? And I still feel those anxious thoughts. Who am I to? What if it doesn't work? What if nobody buys? What if, fill in the blanks with the what ifs. So when you get anxious, realize that we all do. Some are just better at hiding it than others. So, all right, Larry, take it away.
All right, so what we're going to do is combination. I'm going to have you put both hands over the heart. I want you to think of the heart. The heart as being the motherboard of the computer in your body. It's really the core central of your nervous system. So when you work through the heart chakra, and the space behind the heart, you're able to influence everything in your body. There's a Heart Math Institute for people that want to check that out and all the research that they've done on this subject. So you're going to do this, and then I'm going to give you some statements. You're going to repeat it out loud. You're going to take 3 deep breaths, switch hands, and take 3 more deep breaths. So we're going to be focusing on anxiety, and I'll tell you, where do you feel it in your body?
Um, Usually in my gut, and I'll start grinding my teeth.
Yeah, yeah. Common, or you people feeling the shoulders, the neck, the area. Very common.
Yeah.
And then I I have a space here where I use higher power. All I'm doing is ask people what is it for them that represents that which is more than themselves. So that when you're in nature and you feel like you're connected to something much bigger than yourself, what do you call that?
It's a really good definition of higher power. I like that.
All right, we can just go with that, and other people, if they're playing along with us, can use whatever language works for them.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
cool. All right, let's do it, my friend.
All right. I'm ready to go.
All right. All right. Take 3 deep breaths, please, and switch hands and repeat after me. I dedicate this session
I dedicate this session
to that which is highest and best for me
to that which is highest and best for me
and anyone else
and anyone else
that may benefit from it.
that may benefit from it.
And just breathe into that intention. 3 deep breaths. And switch hands and 3 more breaths. Everything that led up to,
Oh, I'm
repeat
still
after me,
repeating. All right.
repeat after me,
Everything that
everything
led
that
up
led
to
up to, yep, by feeling anxiety
my feeling anxiety
in my gut
in my gut
and in my jaw
and in my jaw
happened.
happened.
It's over,
It's over,
and I am safe now.
and I am safe now.
Just breathe into that. Connect with that higher power. See it as a golden white light, with a color, whatever you like. See yourself breathing in that love. 1 more breath, and switch hands, and 3 more breaths. I apologize
I apologize
to everyone that I've hurt
to everyone that I've hurt
related to this feeling
related to this feeling
of anxiety,
of anxiety,
including myself.
including myself.
I send us all,
I what?
I send us all
I send us all
joy, love,
joy and love,
happiness,
happiness,
and peace.
and peace.
And just breathe that in. Just breathe in that love, however you see it. Breathe in that love from your higher power into your gut, into that emotion. And switch hands, and 3 more breaths. 1 more. I choose
I choose
to allow
to allow
forgiveness
forgiveness
to flow through me
to flow through me
and out to everyone
and out to everyone
who hurt me
who hurt me
or that I blamed
or that I blamed
for this feeling
for this feeling
of anxiety,
of anxiety,
including myself.
including myself.
I send us all. I send
I
us
send
all
us all. Okay, sorry. I send us all
love,
love,
happiness,
happiness,
and peace.
and peace.
And just forgive yourself for feeling anxious. It's normal. It's part of the process. And switch hands. You can forgive yourself for feeling it, knowing you are safe now. Thank you, higher power,
Thank you, higher power,
for healing
for healing
all of the places
all of the places
in my mind,
in my mind,
body,
body,
and life
and life
where this anxiety
where this anxiety
has been stored.
has been stored.
Thank you for healing
Thank you for healing
the roots,
the roots,
causes,
causes,
and deepest origins
and deepest origins
of this emotion.
of this emotion.
You just breathe in that loving energy from your higher power into your gut, into your jaw. Switch hands and 3 more deep breaths. All the parts of me
All the parts of me
that receive benefits
that receive benefits
from holding on to
from holding on to
this anxiety
this anxiety
are healing now.
are healing now.
Breathe into that statement and switch hands. Whatever is left
Whatever is left
about this anxiety
about this anxiety
is healing now.
is healing now.
And 3 breaths. And switch hands. One more breath. I choose
I choose
to feel peace,
to feel peace,
serenity,
serenity,
and joy
and joy
where I used to feel
where I used to feel
anxiety.
anxiety.
Just feel peace, serenity, and joy flowing into your gut, into your jaw. One more breath. Switch hands. Just breathe in that loving energy, that joy into your gut. Thank you, higher power,
Thank you, higher power,
for completely integrating
for completely integrating
this healing
this healing
now.
now.
And 3 deep breaths. And switch hands. And 3 more breaths. Now you and your audience can just keep breathing deeply until they feel they are done. And when you're ready, come back to this space.
Ah, Larry, take it from here. I'm going to go out and conquer the world. You got it from here. And folks, if you're just joining us, what you saw is a demo of what we're talking about, how content creators can conquer anxiety, which, of course, as you just saw, Larry is an expert at. And if you were watching my countenance, because I was, and I knew what was going on, I've done this with him a bunch. I was watching my countenance change as I went through this, and that's always a great indicator of something going on. So um, we're open to teach you more. And I mostly want to answer your questions because I'm guessing you have a few. Because one of the ones we usually get on something like this, Larry, is, "Oh, come on, does this really work? Isn't this some woo-woo thing?"
The proof is in the pudding.
Yep.
You know, I would answer that by saying that literally you can go back over 1,000 years and see where cultures have worked with energy in order to bring healing. And if it's worked consistently across multiple cultures over many centuries, there's something to it. And it's only called woo woo because we've been brought up and raised in a culture that says that energy isn't something you can't see or measure, so it doesn't exist. And how do I package it? How do I package that and sell it and make a profit off of it?
See, that's the key because a friend of mine, we were talking one day, and I said, she was telling me about what she does. I said, "This is sounding kind of woo-woo," and she goes, "Well, yeah, but it's organized woo." Like, all right, that'll work. That'll work. Um, and so, yeah, and while you're asking your questions or thinking about your questions, this is show number one of what we're doing here. Larry and I will do some together. I'll do some of my own. I'll do some with other people. We want to know what you want help with. We want to know where your stuck points are and how we can help. Okay. Now you can put those right in the chat now. Um, After this is done later on tonight, I will put this up with show notes, and you'll be able to respond to that. It probably won't go out until the morning, um, and so yeah. Um, so another one I hear a lot, Larry, is, okay, what if you just did with Jeff doesn't work for me or doesn't work for me the first time?
It's very, very rare that a person has not felt some benefit. So, what I would normally do with the person is have them rate on a scale of 0 to 10 how intense the emotion is. And if you started and you were at a 7, and then it comes down to a 3, okay, good. So you can do
It's
it again.
progress.
You're making progress. So it's not always a one and done thing. This is like layers, and you have to peel back each layer. In addition,
Absolutely.
you and I both know, Jeff, that anxiety comes from an underlying belief. So if you think that it's not okay, either that I've got to get it perfectly right the first time that you roll out the product, and otherwise you're a failure, you're going to feel anxious. But if your attitude is, no, I'm going to do something and then I'm going to listen to the people and I'm going to iterate, I'm going to improve it. I'm going to take my statue and I'm going to polish it, that sort of thing,
I
and,
like
and
that.
make it better.
I
So,
like that.
if you've been brought up with beliefs that are telling you that you can't take risks, you have to control everything, then having an online business is really going to push your buttons.
as we all know. And what you just said reminded me after I had some really lengthy, intensive training in NLP and hypnosis, which is just a form of change. Um, it got around town, and these parents brought this grade school kid to me, and they'd been to 3 or 4 therapists before me, some of whom were good. And this kid had a school phobia. He just wasn't going to school. And so, all right, cool, I'll take a shot. And kept the parents in the room, and 45 minutes later he was getting in the car to go to school. And I remember thinking, dang, can you can you build a business around this? Because one session, you know but my training in family systems had taught me to ask the question, okay, yeah, we're going to follow this up. And next time I'm going to talk with you, Mom and Dad, about how this got set up and supported.
Yeah.
And that's when their eyes get real big. But that's what we did. So I tell that story to underscore this can be quick. Okay, same time next week for the rest of your life is not the way to go. It's just not, because you don't have to do that. All right, so we're at wrapping up stage here. Um, you guys have been an incredible audience. Thank you for all that, and we'll be back to do more of these. Um, I'm thinking Tuesdays at 4. You might want to mark in your calendar. And if you're just joining us, this is Jeff Herring and Larry Burton here. We've been talking about how content creators can conquer anxiety. And we did a little demonstration, and the video will be up no later than tomorrow morning for you to rewatch, along with the show notes and other stuff. And one of the things that'll be in the notes is this link. Okay, write this down. jeffherring.com. You're familiar with that. jeffherring.com/anxiety. Okay. And what that's about, Larry and I got together because we were working together on his business, and what he was doing impressed me so much. We decided to build a course together, and you can get it over at jeffherring.com/anxiety, and it's called Anxiety Away. That's Larry's name for it. And the, the content is his, and the construction of it is mine. Um, but yeah, check it out at jeffherring.com/anxiety, and that'll also be in your show notes, along with some other good stuff. Every time I say this to someone, Larry, I have to stop myself because in my mind it's any last words, and that's not a good thing to say. So, any final words or thoughts
Yeah.
today?
No, while we're at it, just put in a plug for both of our Substacks where they can get more
Yes,
about. They know where to find
yes.
you. You can find me at Empowered Self Help. So that is there, and reach out with any questions that you might have. We love to collaborate, and we have a lot of fun. And
Same thing here. Um, Content profit systems. And here's a little extra tip for you guys. You don't even have to put in the Jeff Herring Substack. You can go search for content profit systems on Substack, or just go to contentprofitsystems.com, which is forwarded to Substack. Which is a whole lot easier to say when you're on something like this. So, a
there you go. There
little
you go.
bonus
So,
there.
so we're here to help, and wherever we can give a helping hand, let us know how we can do that.
Absolutely. Larry, thanks. Great job. This is
All right, my
fun.
friend.
And a whole lot better than the previews we tried to do. We did 5 takes
Oh,
on
those were fun.
last night.
Everyone needs a blooper
Um,
reel.
yeah, it was. Just to be, letting you guys know that veterans mess up. I was trying to do it with my phone battery dying, and you got to be really have your phone charged up to do this stuff. So
That's a good
remember
tip.
that. Remember that. All right. Go use this stuff as always. We'll catch you next time.
All right. Be well.